What's up, everybody? In this video, I'll be making my 2024 College Men's Basketball March Madness Tournament predictions, but this time I'm going to base it off of which logo I find cooler or a better design. So let's have some fun. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Okay. So I'm gonna show the logos for the first round, just so you guys can see them. We got, starting with the East region, UConn versus Stetson. The Stetson logo is kind of underrated, but going to go with the UConn nonetheless. We got FAU Northwestern, pretty easy. Gonna go with the FAU Owls. We got San Diego State versus UAB. Props to San Diego State for incorporating their Aztecs mascot into the logo, but gotta go with the UAB Blazers. The dragon is fantastic for a logo. We got the battle of letter logos here, Auburn and Yale. Gotta go with Auburn. The background with the letter U is more eye-popping. We got BYU and Duquesne. Kind of another letter logo battle, but gonna go with Duquesne. That font is pretty unique. We got Illinois versus Morehead State. Going to go with Morehead State. I believe it's the Eagles. Yep. The Eagle logo is cool. We got Washington State versus Drake. Washington State logo is underrated as well. They incorporated the cougar into the letters somehow. So that's pretty dope. But the Drake logo, in my opinion, is better. So I'm going to go with Drake. And then Iowa State and South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Pretty easy here. Going with the upset, South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Okay, moving to the round of 32. Gotta go with UConn over FAU. The Husky logo is just too iconic. We got UAB versus Auburn. The upset continues. A Cinderella run for UAB with the Dragon, the Blazers. We got Duquesne versus Morehead State. Going to go with the upset as well here. Morehead State Eagles. And Drake versus South Dakota State. I actually like the Jackrabbits logo a little bit better. So we got UConn versus UAB. Going to go with UAB to continue their Cinderella story run. And Morehead State versus South Dakota State. Going to go with South Dakota State to get to the Elite Eight. The Elite Eight matchup. Going to go with the UAB Blazers to move on to the Final Four from the East region. Okay, South region. Let's go. We got Houston versus Longwood. The Longwood Lancers, I believe, and Houston Cougars. Going with the 16 seed right there, the Lancers. We got Nebraska and Texas A&M. Battle of the letter logos, but going with Texas A&M, the Aggies. We got Wisconsin versus JMU. Another battle of the letter logos. Going to go with JMU, though. We got Duke versus Vermont. This is easy for me. Gonna go with the Vermont Catamounts. That logo is top tier. We got Texas Tech, NC State. Going with NC State, the Wolfpack logo. Kentucky versus Oakland. Got to go with the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. That bear looks menacing. We got Florida versus Boise State / Colorado. Because the Boise State Colorado game hasn't been played, they're played tonight in the playing game. Going to put all three logos on the screen so you guys can see that. This is probably the toughest battle so far, but gonna go with the Florida Gators logo. We got Marquette versus Western Kentucky. Gonna go with the Western Kentucky logo. We got Longwood versus Texas A&M. Going to go with the Lancers. For their logo, we got JMU versus Vermont. Going to go with the Catamounts of Vermont. We got NC State and Oakland. Going to go with the Wolfpack logo. We got Florida versus Western Kentucky. Got Florida Gators moving to the Sweet 16 round. Sweet 16 round. Longwood versus Vermont. Gotta keep with the Vermont Catamounts. NC State versus Florida. Going to go with the Florida logo. And then moving on to the Final Four, got the Vermont Catamounts from the South region. We got West region. We got UNC versus Wagner. I believe the Seahawks. Going to go with the Seahawks. It's a cool logo. And not a lot of Seahawk teams in college basketball, I believe. We got Mississippi State, Michigan State now. Gotta go with the Michigan State logo. We got St. Mary's and Grand Canyon. I think the Antelopes versus the Gales. I wish there was an antelope for Grand Canyon's logo, but there isn't. So St. Mary's moves on. We got Alabama versus Charleston. Charleston, it's pretty cool that they incorporated Charleston into the logos, but the Alabama is more cleaner with just the A and a cursive font. We got Clemson versus New Mexico. The Lobos. This is pretty easy for me. The Lobos logo looks cooler. We got Baylor versus Colgate. Battle of the letter logos again. Gotta go with Baylor though. Dayton versus Nevada now. Dayton Flyers logo is pretty cool, but going to go with the Nevada Wolfpack. Cool that they incorporated wolf in their logo. And then battle of the letter logos again. Arizona versus Long Beach State. Go with the upset, Long Beach State. Cool font that they used. Okay, round of 32. Wagner versus Michigan State. Going to go with Michigan State, the Spartans. Alabama versus St. Mary's. Going to go with the St. Mary Gales. New Mexico, Lobos versus Baylor Bears. Going with the Lobos. Nevada versus Long Beach State. I'm not sure why, but I kind of like Long Beach State logo more. So they're moving on to Sweet 16. Sweet 16, okay. Michigan State versus St. Mary's. Got Michigan State, the Spartans. New Mexico versus Long Beach State. Going to go with the Lobos. And then Lobos and Spartans to go to the Final Four. Got the New Mexico Lobos logo. Midwest region now. Okay, so we got Purdue versus Montana State scrambling. Don't know who will win between the 16 seeds. So we'll put all three logos on the screen for you guys to see them. If it's Grambling that wins, I'll probably go with Purdue. But if Montana State wins, I'll probably go with them over Purdue. So we're going with the 16th seed. We got Utah State versus TCU. Here we go. Battle of the letter logos again. I like the Utah State logo. That's pretty cool that they meshed the U with the state somehow. Cool. We got Gonzaga versus McNeese State. These are pretty innovative logos. We got the McNeese State Cowboys versus Gonzaga Bulldogs. Going with the Gonzaga Bulldogs, though. We got Kansas versus Sanford, the Bulldogs again, but now we got Jayhawks against them. Gotta go with the Jayhawks. We got South Carolina versus Oregon. Going with South Carolina. We got Creighton versus Akron. I like the Creighton logo better. It's cool that they featured the Blue Jay as well as the letter C. We got Texas versus Colorado State. Going with the Colorado State logo, the Rams. And then Tennessee versus St. Peter's. St. Peter's, the Peacocks. That's a really cool logo. Okay, here we go with the round of 32, yeah. Okay, so assuming Montana State wins tonight, going to go with them, their logo over Utah State. We got Gonzaga versus Kansas. Going to go with the Kansas Jayhawks logo. More iconic, in my opinion. Alright, so between South Carolina and Creighton, going to go with the Creighton Blue Jays to move on. We got Colorado State versus St. Peter's. I like the Colorado State logo a little bit more. We got Kansas versus Montana State /Grambling. Going to go with the Kansas Jayhawks. We got Creighton versus Colorado State. I like the Creighton Blue Jays logo a little bit better. And then moving on to the Final Four, we got Kansas. Okay, here we go with the Final Four. I got on one side UAB, the Blazers versus the Lobos of New Mexico. I like the UAB logo better than the Lobos logo. So they're going to the championship game against Vermont or Kansas. The Jayhawks or Catamounts. I like the Catamounts logo better. And then in the championship, we got UAB versus Vermont. The battle of the logos. Between these two, I think I got to go with the Vermont Catamounts. I mean, look at that logo, man. Just sensational. Design, just artwork, everything. Top notch. And there we go. Vermont Catamounts win the bracket of team logos for 2024.